P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.
Tap. Every day, on the way home from work, Teddy walks past the cemetery. He's not a man who scares easily, but because it's dark, he usually walks briskly. He also keeps his head down and stays on the path. Cemeteries can be eerie places, especially at night, but this one is particularly spooky. There are barely any lights, and those that dot the path upon which Teddy walks do not stretch far into the tombstones. And then there's the tapping. Teddy hears the sound almost every night. It's a strange noise, a repetitive tap, tap, tap that fills the night air. He usually picks up the pace when he hears it and keeps his eyes on the sidewalk. But today is different, because today the sidewalk is closed. And because Teddy was walking with his head down, he didn't notice until the very last moment. In fact, he almost tripped over the orange and black barricade that blocked his path. Shaking his head, Teddy straightened. Then he looked around. He was nearly past the cemetery, but there was no way to get around the barricade. The hole beyond it was too deep to vault over. Teddy didn't want to go back either, because it would add another 20 or 30 minutes to his journey. And he was hungry and tired. There was only one other option: to cut through the cemetery. Teddy let his eyes drift in that direction. The path was well maintained, and tonight it wasn't as dark as usual on account of the full moon above. He listened. He didn't hear the tapping, but even if he had, he would have taken the path through the cemetery. At least, that's what he told himself. Teddy made up his mind and cut through the cemetery. Sure enough, after only a handful of meters, he heard the tapping. He picked up his pace, but the sound got louder. Teddy glanced over his shoulder and debated going back the way he'd come. What was another 20 or 30 minutes anyway? It was a beautiful night. The tapping sound interrupted his thoughts. It was so loud now that he should be able to find the source, which, of course, would have a completely rational explanation. But Teddy saw nothing. The sound, however, continued to get louder. It was almost as if it was chasing him. Teddy was a fast walker, but his pace now was bordering on running. Tap, tap, tap. Teddy looked around, his eyes wide. Tap, tap, tap. It was right behind him now. Tap, tap, tap. Just before Teddy really did start to run, he finally found what was making the noise. And when he did, he took a deep breath. See, I knew it was nothing. A man was sitting by a grave. In one hand, he held a spike, a hammer in the other, and the tapping sound was him working on the inscription on the stone. "Hey, you scared me," Teddy said with a tight laugh. The man, who was bald but had a bushy mustache, slowly turned to look at him. He didn't say anything. He just stared, and Teddy quickly grew uncomfortable. "They have you working late, don't they?" The man continued to stare, and for a second, Teddy didn't think that he'd been heard. I said, "What are you doing here so late?" The man blinked, and Teddy saw that the man's eyes were unusually dark. "Oh, just making some changes," the man replied as he brushed his mustache. "They spelled my name wrong."
P.T. Logan's 5 Minutes of Terror. Twisted, troubling tales to send a chill up your spine.